evening and welcome to One More Round with Dionysus, the only short-form late-night comedy show hosted by a drag queen. I'm your host, Dinah. Tonight we're going to talk about a drunk pirate's DUI. I give my opinion on gay pool parties, and even worse, I give advice. Now it's time for our first round, so let's belly up to the bar. That's right, it's time to roast the news. Pride flag thefts have spiked in Philadelphia, which has led to a police sting operation known as Operation Capture the Flag Capturer. A church in Germany holds a mass blessing for hundreds of same-sex couples. Let's just double-check that those quote-unquote blessings in Germany aren't being held in quote-unquote shower chambers. Police in New York investigate a string of rainbow crosswalk vandalism incidents. No surprise, all those were committed by self-loathing gay men. A drag performer in Las Vegas wins a 6-figure jackpot mid-performance. Reports say she's already spent it on 2 ostrich feather boas. A queer nightclub in Mexico City installs panic buttons following a rise in harassment. The buttons were uninstalled when too many queens used them to signal for help when they ran out of poppers while hooking up in the bathroom. A man in Florida was arrested after calling 911 because his cat was denied entry to a strip club. With frustration in his voice, he told officers he thought this was the best place for him to, quote, show off his pussy. A woman in Texas was arrested after riding a motorized shopping cart out of a store and onto the highway. When stopped, she replied, "Oh, finally, where the hell is the bathroom?" Police in Wisconsin responded to a cow wandering into a convenience store and knocking over displays. When asked for comment, the cow said, "This is what happens when a cow tips back." A man in Illinois was arrested after setting fire to his own house to get out of doing chores. Problem solved. Now that man only has one chore: find a new fucking house. Police in Kentucky arrested a man hiding in an attic after he fell through the ceiling during a burglary. I've heard of it raining men, but this is ridiculous. A woman in Georgia calls police after being chased by a chicken she planned to cook. That bitch is never watching chicken run again. A woman in Pennsylvania was cited after tossing a burrito at a passing car during an argument. She was given a citation because who wastes a perfectly delicious burrito on road rage? A man in Washington was arrested after trying to rob a store with a banana. When reached for comment, he replied, "Pew, pew, 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 banana gun." A driver in Utah was stopped for a DUI while dressed as a pirate and carrying a sword. The cop knew something was off because when they asked where their license and registration were, the pirate replied, "Yeah, but more importantly, where's the rum?" Police in Michigan respond to a deer crashing through the window of a bar and running inside. We're all hoping one day the deer gets the help it needs and crashes through the window of a rehab facility. And next, drag queens are masters at having a point of view. So here's some highlights of my inner commentary this week. For our next round, we have It's Giving Something. So we have the Strait of Hormuz, and it's appropriately named because nothing's more straight than 2 old men fighting over money, power, and control. This week there's a big MMA fight, and there's nothing gayer than 2 sweaty, half-naked men fighting over a belt. Also, this week the Super Mario Galaxy movie premiered. And if I don't get the rights to the movie poster, there's just going to be a plumber with a mustache on. This is the cartoon Straight Dads Hope Their Sons Will Finally Love More Than K-Pop Demon Hunters. And next we have a rugby scrum. It's giving my weekend plans minus the ball. Speaking of my weekend plans, next we have gay pool parties. It's giving, shall we all have a reunion tomorrow at the free clinic? Next we have basketball shorts. It's giving the closest thing that men have to wearing a skirt other than a kilt. You know, when Mel Gibson yelled freedom, he was talking about his balls. Old Scottish tradition. Palm trees, that's our next little topic of conversation. It's giving, I'm the most beautiful thing that will ever pelt you in the face with a piece of tree bark the size of an armadillo. Next we have blasting the AC while pummeling your face with a personal fan. It's giving a drag queen's witness protection plan. Yeah, it's my plan to protect you from witnessing what my face looks like when it melts into a Pennywise mask. Next we have shots of liquor. It's giving a drag queen's love language. And lastly we have white eyeliner. It's giving a drag queen's second most addicting white substance. And finally, I was asked on social media to give advice, my opinion, or my general wisdom to my viewers. So to let it really sink in, I'm going to read the answer first and then give you the question. For our last round, we have reverse wisdom. So my first little tidbit of wisdom is, he giveth and taketh away. And the question that was in response to is, what happens when your verse top is a little more verse than top? My next bit of advice is, if you sniff it, they will come. And that was in response to, how far in advance should I do poppers? My next one is, do unto others as you would like done to yourself. And that was in response to, do I need to reciprocate oral sex? Next we have head, shoulders, knees, and toes. That was in response to, where do I put my hands? Next we have my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack. And that's in response to, where should I put my tongue? Next we have deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. That was in response to someone asking me if I BB. Lastly, we have, but if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top. That is in response to, what's in your Grindr bio? Actually, I have a few more. Okay. 1 if by girl, 2 if by boys. That was in response to, how many bisexuals do you like at one time? Next we have, I'd rather disappoint men. The question is, as a bisexual, which gender do you prefer? All right, bitches, it's time to close out your tab. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm Dinah. This has been One More Round with Dynanisis. If you like what you see, show your support by hitting the like and subscribe buttons and sharing this episode with someone who owes you a drink. Have a great weekend. Cheers.